as heavy and thick as a weaver's beam, tipped with an iron spearhead that weighed 15 pounds. His armor bearer walked ahead of him carrying a shield. Goliath stood and shouted a taunt across the Israelites. "Why are you all coming out to fight?" he called. "I am the Philistine champion, but you are only the servants of Saul. Choose one man to come down here and fight me. If he kills me, then we will be your slaves. But if I kill him, you will be our slaves. I defy the armies of Israel today. Send me a man who will fight me." When Saul and the Israelites heard this, they were terrified and deeply shaken. So I'm just going to stop right here. This is interesting to me because you are an army, sir. You are an army. You are trained to fight. But yet, when the challenge comes to you, you don't want to fight. What's up with that? You are trained to fight. These are the moments that you've been waiting for. These are the moments that you've been preparing for, but you don't want to fight. And that's like us Christians. We prepare for the battle. We pray, we worship, we come to church, we give, but then when the situation comes to us, we're like, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for all of that. Let's go ahead and just pack this up. When things happen at work, it's like, I'm going to lay down this Christian thing and I'm going to go ahead and hide away. No, wait. That's not what you've been training for. You've been training for a fight. You've been training for this. This is the opportunity for the victory, but you don't want to take it. All right, that's cool. Verse 12, it says, "Now David was the son of a man named Jesse," and he was from Bethlehem, "in the land of Judah. Jesse was an old man at that time, and he had 8 sons. Jesse's 3 oldest sons, Eliab, Abinadab, and Shemiah, had already joined Saul's army to fight the Philistines. David was the youngest son. David's 3 oldest brothers stayed with Saul's army. But David went back and forth so he could help his father with the sheep in Bethlehem. For 40 days, every morning and evening, the Philistine champion strutted in front of the Israelite army." Let's stop right here. Now, there's only so much, from my son, Jaden, there's only so much taunting I can take from him. I come home, I'm tired, leave me alone. I don't want to see anybody. I want to see my bed. Just leave me alone. All of a sudden, here comes Jaden taunting. Hits me once. Whatever, I'll let that go. Hits me twice, I'll let that go. Talks about me. Says I'm weak. That gets my attention. I'm weak, eh? All right, I'll let that go. Comes back, runs around the house a little bit, comes back in my room, jumps on me. Okay. All right, get off me. You have so much longer. Then all of a sudden, it's just like he comes in, says, "You're weak. You can never beat me." And then he hits me. Or like he likes to call it, he corn dogs me. Where he puts his knee in my butt. All right, you've wakened the giants. Here I come. I can only take that for 5 minutes. These jokers, they took that for 40 days. They took that for 40 days? There's only so much I can take. Even if I lose, I'm not going to let you talk about me and my mama and my daddy, my whole family, and you still be alive. I'm not going to let that happen. They let this happen for 40 days. My question to you is, how long have you been letting that sickness get at you? How long have you been letting these issues get at you, these anger problems get at you? How long have you been letting some things slide, get at you? that fear, that shyness, or whatever it is, how long have you been letting that get to you? A year, 2 years, all your life? How long have you been letting that hold you back? These are things that are holding us back and are constantly in our face. And we are just letting it happen. It's a taunting. It's saying, hey, I want you to try to hit me. But the thing about it is that God has given us the equipment to answer that. We have been training for this. This is something that we have been training for. Let's keep on reading. We're going to go down to verse 23 because just a little synopsis. David brings his brothers some chicken sandwiches and everything like that, and so that was just that whole thing between verse 16 and 23. So he brings some chicken sandwiches and stuff like that, and so he comes down, and he says, as he was talking with as he was talking with them, he's talking to his brothers, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, came out from the Philistine ranks. Then David heard him shout his usual taunt to the army of Israel. So David never heard this for the past 40 days. He never heard this for the past 40 days. As soon as the Israelite army saw him, they began to run away in fright. What in the world? Who are you? Are you an army? Are you an army? Or what? Are you some punks? What's going on? You're an army and you're running away from one man? See, I don't fight fair. I don't fight fair at all. Jaden knows this, and my brother knows this from our days of fighting. I don't fight fair. If I get an opportunity to pick up something, I'm picking up something. This is just the way it is. I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm going to knock you out. One way or another, I don't fight fair. So even if that was me in that situation, I'm not fighting fair. I don't care what the rules we established before. I'm not fighting fair. I'm going to be like, bruh, you go behind. I'm going to come from the front. You come from the side, and you come from the other side. We're going to take this dude down. We're not doing this no more. I don't fight fair. And so that's the whole deal with this, where I'm just like, man, these are punks. They running away? What's going on? And so they ran away in fright, and they said, have you seen the giant, the men asked? He comes out each day to defy Israel. The king has offered a huge reward to anyone who kills him. He will give that man one of his daughters for a wife, and the man's entire family will be exempted from paying taxes. I'll be like, hold up. Let's talk about these taxes, though. What'd you say? Taxes? All right, I'm in. David asked the soldier standing nearby, so he got his attention too. David asked the soldier standing nearby, what will a man get for killing this Philistine and ending his defiance of Israel? Who is this pagan Philistine anyway, that he is allowed to defy the armies of the living God? Something set in him. Something hit in him, because he was like, this is the army of the living God. Not the dead God, the living God. He is the living God, and not only is he living, but he is interceding on our behalf. He is with us. He is on our side. And so when we stand up for him, he's going to stand up for us. And so that's the thing about it. When we realize that something is coming against us, we have to realize, hold up, it's not just coming against me. It's coming against God. And God is not tolerating this. This is not something that God is okay with. Like, okay, you can have that sickness for the rest of your life. Just take it easy a little bit. You'll be all right. Or you can go ahead and live in poverty for the rest of your life. You can go ahead and live in depression for the rest of your life. That's okay. Just take it easy. Keep on praying. Keep on worshiping, and everything's going to be good, okay? No. It doesn't work like that. Oh, I know what got me all worked up. I lost my spot. The armies of the living God, and these men gave David the same reply. They said, yes, that is the reward for killing him. And so when it caught David's attention, he was like, so I get one of Saul's daughters, right? So that's not the ugly one, the good looking one, the cute one, the fine one, not the ugly one. I don't want the ugly one. Just want to make sure. It's the cute one, right? Okay. And my family don't have to pay taxes for forever, right? I'm down. Let's do it. Let's do this. And so David was down for the count. He was ready to do this. He was ready to go all out because he knew, not just because of the reward, but because he knew how the story ended. He knew how the story ended. He actually recounted this because, it's so important that we declare our victory. It's so important that we declare our victory because if we don't declare our victory, then that means that we don't have the victory. We need to declare the victory that God has given to us already, even before we see the victory. Going back to that song, it says, I know how this story ends. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm not backing down from any giant. Man, glory to God. And so he goes through all of that. Are the verses up? How come it's not up here? The verses ain't back up there? All right, that's cool. I'll just look for it myself. Glory to God. God bless you. So in verse 32, this is something that David says. He says, don't worry about this Philistine. David told Saul, I'll go fight him. Don't be ridiculous, Saul replied. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy, and he's been a man of war since his youth. But David persisted. I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats, he said. When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with a club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by the jaw and club it to death. I have done this both to the lions and bears, and I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. Now, I've seen a bear in real life. Far away, but in real life. And when I seen this bear, I was like, man, glory to God, that's a bear. Let me back up some more. I was a few 1,000 feet away from it, not 1,000 feet, 1,000 meters, excuse me. I was a few thousand meters away from it, so I'm like, I feel pretty comfortable, but I'm going to keep on backing up. And that bear, it was a baby bear, but it was still big. I said, well, it's a baby bear. That's a big baby. That is a big baby. I'm not doing it because I know if the baby bear is around, that means that the mama bear is somewhere close. And I'm like, nope, not doing it. I'm looking at this baby bear and I'm like, I can't do it. Now looking at the mama bear, nah, I'm gonna go back to Michigan. I'm good. Not gonna do this. And so seeing all of this, what David understood is that the whole time he was unmoved by the size, strength, and fighting ability of Goliath. He understood that no one challenges God and gets away with it. And this is something really special. He mastered the art of trusting God. He mastered the art of trusting God. David took down a lion and a bear because he trusted God the whole time. He took them down with his bare hands, took them down, and killed them. And then he said, I'm going to do the same thing to this Philistine. I'm going to do the same thing to Goliath. And so just spoiler alert, David wins, and he goes to Goliath, and he faces Goliath, and he tells Goliath what he's going to do to him. What he's going to do to him. He said that he's going to cut off his head. But the thing about it is that David did not have a sword. At the time he said it, he did not have a sword. And so what he did, when he took him down with that rock, he took Goliath's sword and cut off his head. And that was just something that was just like, he declared the victory before he even had it. Before he even had it, he declared the victory. And so there's some things that we need to declare the victory over. We need to take an inventory over our lives because it's not the end yet. It's not over yet. We know how the story ends because God has given us the victory. He causes us to triumph. He calls us more than conquerors. He calls us overcomers. He has given us this victory, and so what we need to do, we need to take this stance and ask God, God, what is my